Hi, hello, welcome back to another one of my videos. For today, I've decided to crown myself the Queen of Vampires, the Queen of the Damned, you might say, and rate all the vampire media I've ever watched. Now, that can be books or movies, TV shows, and perhaps even a musical. And why did I decide to do this? Well, I've loved vampire media ever since I could think, so I think I'm the right person to do this. And you might also wonder why aren't some of the cool classics in here, such as Lost Boys, some of the Nosferatu and Dracula adaptations, many of the older movies. This can be, if you want it to be, a part one of me making this a whole series. And also, I am just a girl. I like to rewatch stuff. Quite frankly, I've rewatched all of these. And, well, while there aren't that many cool classics in here, I think it's a pretty big amount of vampire media to talk about, and I'm always constantly looking out and wanting to watch more, especially of the older ones I haven't seen yet. Which, if anyone wants a video on those anytime soon, please let me know, because I am currently working on going through that list, but that would be way too long of a video anyway. So I've decided to do only the ones that I've already seen or read. Like I said, there will be a lot of really silly, one might say, things in here, just because I've literally written down everything from when I was first watching vampire media. I don't know. I probably missed out a lot of stuff that I've seen and forgot to put in here, but it was hard to find anything and everything. I hope you find maybe a recommendation out of these, and if not, we can just discuss our favorites in the comments. Now I have made this wonderful tier list. Should be visible by now. Though tier lists are usually ranked from S tier to D tier, I have given the tier lists some new names, and I thought we will go through them together. It will be very hard for me to rank all of this media because I usually tend to enjoy all of them. There's not a lot of misses in here, and even the ones that will be ranked the worst, they will be only the worst from this list. It doesn't mean that I didn't like them at all. I just had to put some down and bottom, which I really will struggle to do so, just because I enjoy vampire media so much, even if it's bad. The lowest category we have is none other than...
Where the hell have you been, Luca?
If you know, you know. I'm gonna try to put clips of all of these quotes in here, because these are all iconic, at least in my eyes, iconic vampire quotes for the rankings. And this is, of course, a quote by Twilight. That doesn't mean that Twilight is the worst movie I've ever seen. Because I'll talk about it when I rank Twilight. Anyway, it's just, I'm interpreting this line as it's missing something. It's like, where the hell have you been? Where has all the storyline gone to? Where has all the good character development gone to? You know? It's like, where has the plot been, Loka? That's the worst category you will have today. Because all of the other ones are pretty much movies that I adore. I just have to put them in categories somehow. And the next category is none other than...
Well, I don't say that you have to enjoy it!
Which is, of course, an iconic quote by Lestat de Lyoncourt from Interview with the Vampire. And... spoiler alert, Interview with the Vampire will not be this low, but... I'm interpreting for this video this quote as, I enjoyed this a lot. I'm not saying it's a good movie, but I enjoyed it, and I don't say that you have to enjoy it. You know? I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
And that's my life. Weird, messy, complicated, sad, wonderful, amazing, and above all, epic.
I almost put this at the lowest category just because it's cringy, but in this context, I am using the words with what they mean. I know you can discuss Vampire Diaries however you want to. I will in this video, of course. And I usually also quote this in cringy subtext, but in cringy context. But I think for this video, we'll take the literal meaning. And this, for me, mostly because of the word epic, we're taking this for the more cult classic-y movies. For the classics that are good for a reason, but that aren't my favorite. Now, the next two categories we have are the following.
I wept the entire meal, even though he tasted delicious.
And this is, of course, from What We Do in the Shadows. And I think this is the most self-explanatory of them all. It's just very, very, very good media that just made me cry. This is, for me, this is like the best category, and the one on top will be the like absolutely perfect, wouldn't change anything about them, which this also is, but you know, I have to distinguish them somehow. And the best of the best, the creme de la creme, the most tasty blood of all of them will be
You are the only being I trust.
which is another quote from Interview with the Vampire, because you couldn't stop me if you tried. And this is also self-explanatory. You're the only being I trust. I would rewatch this all the time. I would know I know it's good. I know other people will like it, and it just never disappoints. I didn't sort these at all, so this will be very random. I tried to put the series of movies next to each other, but maybe I missed some out, and there aren't that many. And like I said, I will hopefully add more to this list. Now, the first movie is one of the most recent movies I have on this list, and it's Nosferatu by Robert Eggers from end of last year. And honestly, when I made this list, of course I made it myself because no one watched the exact same things that I watched. And I will put the link for this tier list, if you want it, in the biography. I really, 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 really liked Nosferatu. Would I count it as one of my favorites? Actually, you know what, we're not starting with Nosferatu because I need to have a think. No. Well, let's ignore that. The next movie we have is Vampirschwestern, which is a German movie about two sisters who are both half vampires. Their dad is a vampire, their mother isn't, and they just recently moved to Germany from Transylvania, and they try to figure out their life in the human world as two vampires, and one of them really wants to be a vampire and the other doesn't, and you just kind of learn through them what it's like. And it's a very silly and funny movie. The dad is really hot for some reason, and the vampire sisters are both really lesbian, but it's part of my childhood, so of course I had to put it in here because it's really iconic. I am putting this at simply because it's just iconic, because it's nostalgic, and that's what this category is for me. For the non-German people who watch my videos, if there are any, just maybe if you can find it, check it out, because it's really quite fun and it's very nostalgic to me. Definitely not the best piece of media, really not, but it's fun, and I think all vampires movies at their core should be fun if they're not devastating. The next media is a TV show called The Originals, which is a spin-off of the original The Vampire Diaries, and it follows the vampire family of all, and just their very dramatic way of life. And sadly, while I am a huge The Vampire Diaries fan, and I'm a huge fan of the family that The Originals is about, I have never finished The Originals. I just got really annoyed at some of the characters, which doesn't happen a lot, but I don't know, and that's why I'm putting it in the lowest category, which, don't get me wrong, I love the vibes, I love New Orleans. Somewhat was just really bugging me, and I think one day I will have to watch the entire thing because I am such a big fan of the whole universe. It just, I just couldn't get into it, sadly, which, I'm sorry. The next movie is Dark Shadows. Hugely, widely well known because of the actor in it. It's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I wouldn't know what to rate it. Dark Shadows is about an imprisoned vampire who is set free and returns to his ancestral home, where his dysfunctional descendants are in need of his protection. And while I do like this, and I especially love the set design of this movie, I never think about it that much, you know? And maybe that's why why am I ranking? I didn't think I would rank this many so low, but we're just at the beginning. It's fine. Now, the next one, I already briefly mentioned it, is What We Do in the Shadows. And this, very quickly, I'll talk about it in a second, but this will go to the category that it belongs in, which is also the quote of the TV show. It's not. I love this TV show. I love Nadia. I love Nanda. I love all of them so much. Like, literally every single character. They're so funny. Like, this is the funniest sitcom I've ever seen. It's even better because they're vampires in the modern world, and it's just fantastic. absolutely wonderful job. It's the only reason I'm not putting it at the top is because of the ending. It felt very rushed and it just didn't sit right with me. But don't let that stop you from watching the show, because it's still brilliant. And if you can just not watch the last, and you'll be fine. You will have an even better ending than the original ending. And there's just so many amazing vampire media references in here, vampire lore, and it's just so hilarious. And it's just truly a wonderful, 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 great watch. And I'm putting this in here because I did cry a lot while watching it. From laughing or because I was emotional. Now, we have come to the first book. And this is one of the, like, it's the most well-known vampire book there ever was. And it's one of the first I've ever read, and it's one of the first pieces of vampire media I ever fell in love with. And it's none other than Dracula by Bram Stoker, of course. You know, everyone knows this. And while I absolutely adore this book, I know that there are some vampire books on here that I love even more, which is crazy. But I still think it's wonderful and complicated and amazing and epic, which you're hearing. I'm putting it in that category, which it's crazy to look at those two ranked next to each other, but they're entirely different. They're in here for entirely different reasons. One is nostalgia, and the other one is just because it's epic. Maybe I should have made another list for just, well, maybe I should put the sister stuff. No, I'm the most indecisive person, so maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. Okay, the video's done. I should not be doing this. Okay, let's lower them down. We're saving the middle category for the truly iconic classics. Anyway, well. But the next book is the most recent vampire story I've read, which is Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna van Veen. And I've talked about this quite a lot in my recent videos, because of course I just read it. Blood on Her Tongue follows these two sisters, and one of them gets an affliction of some sort, and her sister starts looking after her, and we follow her sister as she's noticing these weird and supernatural things happening, and it's very gloomy and gothic, and it's very much focuses on sisterhood and how far you would go for your sibling. And it's just this wonderful gothic tale, and it features a bog body, all the good things you want in a gothic book. And a lot of things in here really truly made me weep. It was heartbreaking at some points, just how women were treated back then, and then also just the sisterly bond. Wonderfully written. Wept the entire meal. It's so funny to say the categories out loud, but here we are. The next book is Long Time Dead. Follows two sapphic vampires, so this is a lesbian romance fantasy vampire book, and this is set in the Victorian era as well, and it's very chaotic. The writing style sadly wasn't my favorite, but the storyline was fabulous. I loved them. I love these little silly queer vampires so much. It just was lacking a lot, which I want to repeat. The worst category isn't for bad media, it's just for the ones that weren't as good as the others in here. So I'll put it down there, but I do want to recommend this book. If you're interested in sapphic vampires, please read this book. It was very good. The writing style wasn't right for me, and it felt a bit plot holey at times, but it's still a very good read nonetheless. It's still a good book, okay? Now the next book. It's Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, and if you know anything about me, I love Camilla. I love it so much. I constantly want to reread it, and if you don't know anything about Camilla, it predates Dracula by many years, which is absolutely crazy. It's sapphic, and it's short, and it's gothic, and it's about this girl who always had these weird nightmares, and then one day a girl gets taken in by her and her dad. They live at this beautiful gothic castle of some sorts in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. I don't remember. And they take her in, and then a lot of people start dying around them. A lot of people are getting the fever. A lot of people are going crazy, and their story just sort of unravels. And the main girlies are called Laura and Camilla, and yeah, it's a wonderful tale. And the romance line in here are crazy. This is not a romance book, I wouldn't say so, but there are some wonderful poetic lines in here about love, and especially about queer love, which is crazy considering the time that this was written in. It just, if you like vampire media, especially books, and you haven't read Camilla, come on, man, do it. The next book is A Diary of Blood, and I have fallen absolutely in love with S.T. Gibson's writing style. It's so good. A Diary of Blood is a retelling of Dracula, which, like I said before, I absolutely love Dracula. And this retelling follows Dracula's brides and how they get with Dracula and then how they get rid of him, per se, and how they fall in love with one another. And it's queer. It's so wonderful, delicious, and it's so striking how an author can write this wonderful of a gothic fantasy romance tale and also put in symbolism and definite signs of domestic abuse and how hard it is to get over it and not to get over it, how hard it is to deal with it and to finally let go of that person. And wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. And I would also recommend this to anyone. The next piece of media is Buffy. Yeah, I'm putting that as a cult classic. Buffy is the iconic supernatural TV show. To me, this and Charmed, and Buffy's just the wonderful 90s vibes are incredible. Buffy always looks good. Sarah Michelle Gellar, you have my heart. While there's like all 90s TV shows, many plot holes, many questionable things, it's wonderful. Especially it's wonderful to look back at the special effects from back in the day and I just really love the show. I haven't done a full rewatch. I'm like halfway through, I think, but I've seen a lot of the episodes as a kid, of course. It's epic. It's Buffy. It's Buffy and Spike, you know? And we've come to another recent watch, and I'm also seeing that I actually put two of them in here. I'll delete it later. Let's take the actual film poster, and it's Blood and Sinners by Ryan Coogler. I've seen this in cinema twice in the past 2 weeks, and I also just rewatched the last 30 minutes of it yesterday. I think it's right. That actually feels right, even though it's a very recent watch, and I even thought about making an extra category for recent watches that I enjoyed or didn't. So it's absolutely wonderful. Cinematography, stunning, soundtrack and score. If they don't win every single award for this movie, god damn it. The cast was wonderful. The writing, the character development, the storyline, everything. They've put so much work, love, and passion into this, and if you haven't seen it yet, please do. There's so much important history on Black culture and Irish culture, and how all of that translates into being a vampire and community, especially Black community, and dancing and the power of music. I need to calm down. But this is the perfect movie. The next one is also a book, and it's by the same author as A Diary of Blood, which is S.T. Gibson, and it's an education in malice. And while I'm a huge fan of A Diary of Blood, I also am very much so of this. Not as much as A Diary of Blood, I think, but if you like dark academia and want a slice of a vampire, this is perfect. This is also, like the other one, queer, and it's set in this wonderful, wonderful dark academia school, and it's two girls falling in and out of love with one another while they're also being hunted and turned into a vampire. And it's about age gap relationships and power shifting dynamics, and it's incredible. Just Ashley Gibson knows how to write. I don't know where to put this. Because I didn't necessarily cry, and doesn't have a cult classic status, of course, because it's relatively recent. But I do think a lot of people would enjoy it, so I wouldn't put it here. I'm putting it here. I didn't necessarily cry, even though I could have, probably, because it has some sad scenes. But I'm taking this, for this book specifically, this category, as more of, I really enjoyed it. It was just missing something, you know. Taking an exception for this one, because it's not the S tier, sadly, quite yet. But it's still a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. And now we've come to the movie that almost got a category in here, because I really wanted to use the iconic quote that Gary Oldman says, which is, "I have crossed oceans of time to find you." I probably absolutely butchered that. This is The Dracula, starring Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder. And this, while it is a cult classic, this is also my favorite Dracula adaptation, which I have a few of the other ones in here, but I just really fucking love this one. And it's so campy and sexy and gothic and wonderful that it deserves to be here. Because I don't cry for it. And it's definitely not on the same level as Blood and Sinners, but it's still a perfect movie. Argue with the wall, I don't care. Also, briefly want to mention, look at my ring. Not on my nails, but my ring. Both of the next ones are books. And the first one is Fragile Animals by Genevieve Jagger. And some people might say this isn't a vampire story, but it features a vampire, maybe. And it's a very good book. I love this. This is very much for the girls who have religious trauma and also queers of some sorts, and it's just very traumatic and poetic. I'm rating this in here just because the vampire plot was missing. I thought going into this, but that also was my own fault. But I'm just mentioning it. I thought there would be more vampire things going on, but it was very, is this happening or is it not? It's not a bad book at all. It's just not my favorite out of all of these. I need to rank them somehow. All of the next ones, different types of media, are Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, the whole fucking universe of it all. And this one is the book. It's the first book. I have yet to read the other ones. Sorry. Huge fan though. Huge fan of Anne Rice's writing. We can discuss the things she wrote about and the views she had, but we shan't in this video. This is still, I'm gonna put it in the iconic category because it is very iconic. It's a cult classic in vampire media, definitely vampire literature, of course. Introduces wonderful characters such as Lestat and Louis the Point de Lac, and Claudia, and many great. All of them are great characters. Love her writing style. Many story plot holes and many things wrong with the story. Many racist things, and very many other different things that should be in a book. Maybe. But I also like dancing on the lines for what is morally okay for a vampire to do. So, anyway, I didn't want to discuss it, but still I did. It's a classic. It's a classic. It's just iconic, and I cannot wait to read the other ones. Interview with the Vampire, I did cry the entire meal, even though he tasted delicious. However, it's the perfect TV show ever. It's one of my favorite all-time TV shows ever. I've just recently made a video on my favorites, so if you want to go check that out, please do. I don't only spend my time watching vampire media. I also watch other shows. But yeah, Interview with the Vampire, wow. How they can take the source material, which I just talked about, and change it into something so unbelievably telling on racist culture in the past, and then growing up a queer black vampire through all the decades, and how that affects a person, and then also putting a gay relationship in that time, and just putting in that very complex and messy relationship. My god. And the costuming, the set designs, the storytelling, all of the characters, so well thought out. They really put all their love and passion into the show, and I cannot wait to finally get the new season. I truly recommend this to anyone. If you've never seen a vampire movie, or TV show in your life, just watch this. It's wonderfully written. There's so many heartbreaking lines in here. So many iconic lines. Like, I've put 2 clips in here. Wonderful. Like I said before, don't get me wrong. I do not hate this movie. I actually like this movie a lot. I just really despise Tom Cruise. But this is a aesthetically beautiful movie, nonetheless. It's very stunning, because of course, like most vampire movies, it's very gothic, so it's very romantic looking, but it just wasn't that well made, sorry to say. And while we're at it, I'll also put Queen of the Damned down here. Both of these could also be put in the cult classic category. It's just, for me, they were lacking a lot, especially because I know how much better it can be done in the TV show. So let's just get those 2 out of the way. Like I said, visually beautiful, wonderful, but that's it for me, at least. I think it's time to rank Nosferatu, maybe. I'm just thinking, I don't want to compare. I'm gonna put it on the S tier. It's the only being I trust. Cinematography beautiful, soundtrack beautiful. Yeah, it deserves to be up there, especially if I put the Dracula adaptation, which we can discuss. It's not maybe the best movie ever made, but it is in my eyes. So shut up. It's truly a wonderful, wonderful adaptation. So it will stay up there. The next movie will go to I Wept the Entire Meal, Even Though He Tasted Delicious. This is Only Lovers Left Alive, starring Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston. Iconic. This is a very modern take on vampires, how they would live in a modern world, and it's about music, and it's about found family of some sorts, and it's about finding yourself, and it's just about being lonely. It made me cry. The ending made me sob my eyes out. And overall, I just really liked the vibes and the atmosphere of this one. It's very rock and roll. And the next movie is going straight to Lestat's Court. And this is really funny seeing it next to the German movie, but this is My Best Friend's a Vampire. This is starring Neil Perry, love of my life. The reason I watched it, but also because I like vampire movies, and I especially enjoy vampire movies from the 80s. And like I said, this category isn't bad at all. There's nothing bad about these movies. It's just that I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea, but it's definitely my cup of tea. I love these movies, and I could have made something like S+ tier with movies that are fantastic in my eyes, but I know not everyone will like them. And this movie is definitely one of them, because it's that very specific type of 80s comedy horror. It's a funny vampire movie, but I think there's many great things about this movie. First of all, the main love interest is definitely a lesbian, and our guy Robert Sean Leonard is, like in all of his movies, gay as well. He just doesn't know it. But I think it's very funny because being a vampire in this movie can be interpreted as being gay in a lot of ways, especially because there's this whole scene, this big moment about him coming out as a vampire, and it's very much similar to coming out as gay. And great movie. If anything that I just said interests you, it's very campy. Please watch it. It's so silly and fun, and it's just really entertaining. The next one is Dracula with Christopher Lee, and should I put all of the Dracula? I'm gonna put this one down here. It's not my favorite, which is funny considering that I have big love for this movie, especially because I have a t-shirt of this movie, which I wear like once a week, maybe twice a week. Love that shirt. I like this movie. It's made beautifully. I think all of the old Dracula movies have just such a wonderful way about them, the way they were made, especially considering how much more difficult it was to do special effects back then. It's just, comparing them to the other Dracula movies, this is my favorite. It was lacking a lot. I appreciate the movie for what it is. I just, not my favorite out of the Dracula adaptations. And that's it. The next piece of media is Shadowhunters, which I didn't even think about putting it in here. until I was reminded that this is vampire media, because vampires are a huge part of this universe. Definitely going to, well, I don't say that, you have to enjoy it. This isn't a well-made TV show. Talking about special effects, it's crazy. They just didn't have a budget, I think. And there's a lot of cringy storylines in here, and cringy, many cringe. I don't like calling things cringy because I don't believe in cringe, but this is a very cringy show. But I like it. I weep every time. I laugh every time, and it just has very nostalgic feel to me because I just was a huge fan back in the day. And I think if I would watch it now, I wouldn't think it's good, but maybe I still think I would really enjoy it because it has a lot of queer characters and badass female protagonists in here. The next movie is also one of the 80s campy vampire movies out there, and it's Once Bitten, starring Jim Carrey. And this movie has this movie has the most iconic dance sequence I've ever seen in a movie, and I'm a huge Step Up fan, so I know things about dancing. Anyway, iconic scene. Definitely also joining its very similar feel movie, My Best Friend's a Vampire, Once Bitten, very much in that same world, same universe. Can also be read very queer. I shall be reading every piece of vampire media queer. It's a very similar story. It's a coming of age story involving also coming of being a vampire. Yeah, the next movie is the Dracula adaptation from 1931, and this definitely classic. This is such a brilliant movie. It's so silly and fun. Not words I would usually use to describe this movie, but it's true because it's an old movie, but it's so well made for the time being, and this actually feels like it has story, and I can definitely feel how the people who watched this back in the day must have felt, because it's a very big thing, and it's brilliant, and I would rewatch this, and I think this definitely stands its place for being called the Dracula adaptation. And the next one is very silly and fun. I don't know how to rank this, but this is the School of Vampires. Used to love this as a child. Absolutely love this. I remember watching this so many times. It's a show, and it's just fun. And I recently saw a clip of it, and I just felt so much nostalgia for it. And I think I'm putting it here just because I don't know where else to put it, because it's just nostalgic. And the next movie is the original Nosferatu from 1920, I think. And it's getting right there next to Dracula. Absolutely wonderfully made. It's so iconic. It's referenced in media for a lot of reasons. And I think if you want to get into vampire media, or you already are, definitely a must watch. If you're wanting to get through those classic old movies, definitely watch this one. And the next three are all very silly. Well, these are all Hotel Transylvania, which is an animated story of Dracula and his daughter living in Transylvania and having a hotel for monsters. And these are all children's movie, of course. I am putting this one as iconic, and it's absolutely funny seeing it next to these other medias, but you have to realize that this is a very silly ranking, because I hate ranking shit, okay? I don't know why I put myself through this, but I wanted to. And I love the first one. It's very nostalgic to me. It's very iconic to me. And I loved this as a child, and I still love it now. I rewatch it quite often. And it's just fun, and I think the storyline is very fun as well. It's like, yeah, monsters need hotels too. The next one, I also really liked. It's not the best. Actually, you know what? Putting both of them down here. They both were missing that certain something that the first one had. Let's just keep it at that. Now, we are coming sort of to the end of this. The next 5 movies are the Twilight movies, and it's gonna be funny to rank these because I always get them mixed and don't know which one's which. Now the first one will be, I will put this to the cult classic movies because this is a classic. Many things wrong and cringy about the Twilight movies, but they had their moment back in the day, and I think that stands for something, and I still think that's just the general vibe of them. They're very good, and of course it's very messy and weird and chaotic, but I said what I said. I enjoy it, and if you say Twilight is cringy, then you just weren't there, then you just don't know, you just don't get it. The next one I also actually really like. I'm putting it here. I'm not gonna say much about these now. It's just I personally like the first two the most, and then I just kind of don't care anymore. And I especially don't like the last two. So I'm gonna put this one as here as well, and then they can go down here. I just kind of despise the storylines, and I was so over it. And the storylines just kept getting worse, and especially considering how iconic the first one and the second one are. These two, the other just kind of didn't. They just didn't work in my eyes. But I'm constantly rewatching Twilight, so make of that what you will. We have 4 more pieces of media to go through, which actually I think this went by quicker than I thought it would. And the first one is a book called Immortal Dark by Tigist Gamma, and this is also a pretty recent read of mine, and this is wonderful. This follows the story of a black vampire slayer who has to live with a vampire. So it's very much enemies to lovers, if you will, if you want to give it a trope, if you must. And first of all, it's wonderful to read about black vampires, always. And I'm very excited because this will get a follow-up book soon. I hope soon. I'm not so sure when. Wonderful writing. You can definitely tell that it was her first time writing a book like this, but I really, really, really liked it. And I'm not a huge romance enjoyer or reader, but I really enjoyed the romance in here. I think at some points it felt very much Wattpad-y, but not in a bad way. I'm just not used to reading them. I'm not used to reading romance. That's all. Storyline, huge fan. The discourse on societal differences and standings, and the way things just get pushed in the corner and not talked about again, or just hidden, and the politics of it all. And I think I don't know what to rate this. I am putting this here because I did enjoy it, but I also think that other people will enjoy it. But I think the romance part might be a bit too much for a lot of people, and also I am waiting for the second part. I think if I read more in this world, I will like it even more. But I did still very, very, very much like this, and I think you will too. Just I don't know where else to put this one. It's the only musical on this list, and I'm so happy I get to talk about it on the internet. It's Tanz der Vampire, Dance of the Vampires. It's a musical that is kind of the storyline of Dracula, and I think when this was being made, it was supposed to be more like Dracula, but I couldn't get the rights, if I remember correctly. And if you know the song Total Eclipse, this is from that musical. It follows the girl Sarah, who is infatuated and being hunted by the Count Vampire, which I've forgotten the name of right now, but he seduces her and she wants to be turned into a vampire, but all of the loved ones in her life don't think she's doing this willingly, so they try to save her, and it's beautiful. This is one of the best musicals I've ever seen. The costuming. Now I sadly have to switch to my phone. I was just talking about the musical. I hope I didn't cut off in the middle of my sentence. It is fair to say that I love this musical a whole lot, and if you ever have the chance to watch it, please go and see it. It's fantastic. It's the only musical in here. I am putting it on the S tier. It's just wonderful. There's not a single thing I can say that is bad about this musical. The soundtrack is fabulous. The next piece of media is Vampire Diaries, which I've mentioned now quite a few times, and I'm a huge fan. I love this. I grew up on this. I used to watch this when I was way too young, and I've been in love with every single one of the characters. Just ask me at any age and I'll tell you a different character that I'm obsessed with. Do I think the storyline's always amazing? No. Do I think all of the character got the development they deserved? Definitely not. Bonnie Bennett, I am sorry. But this still has a very big place in my heart. And I rewatch this maybe every year or every time. I think if we ever want to get obsessed with a very 2000 core, a little bit of cringy, but that's a must. Long TV show. This is the one. It has 8 seasons. Every season has a lot of episodes. I kind of want to put it on S tier just because I rewatch it this often, but it doesn't compare at all to all of the other media on there. I also did cry a lot, so it could go there. But it's also classic, and I could put it with its quote, because the quote is of course from Vampire Diaries. And I think I would do right by Elena Gilbert if I would put it there, even though I did cry a lot. But even though we make fun of her for saying the show is out of the things that she says. We've come to the last piece of media, and this is a very easy one to sort into this, because it's Vamps from 2012. So you can imagine, it's very comedic vampire story. It doesn't take itself serious at all, and that's what I love about it. It references a bunch of vampire media, which I absolutely adore when modern media does that, referencing the origins and making fun of it a little, but in the most endearing and respectful way. Not respectful, but adoring ways. Like, it makes fun of it, but as a compliment. And it's definitely, well, I don't have to say you enjoy it, because it's not a good movie. I just watched this 2 days ago, and it's not a good movie. We follow Goody and Stacy, who are friends, and Goody is old, but Stacy doesn't know it. Goody has been a vampire for a long time, and Stacy's relatively young. I think for a comedic vampire story, the ending of this was very sad. I didn't necessarily cry, but I felt very emotional about it, and I thought it was well made. It has a very good storyline. It has an actual story behind the story. It's just not random shit. It has a meaning to it, and I just really liked the girlhood of it all. And I do like, with all vampire media, thought they should have just kissed. That's my list. It's not as many movies that I thought, and it's also didn't turn out like I thought it would. I didn't think I would have that many pieces of media to put into the last category, and I think if I would look over the list now, I would probably change a lot of it again. It's not the worst media I've ever seen. It's just, compared to the other ones, not the best, but it's still very good indeed. So don't let any of my ranking stop you from reading or watching any of these pieces of media, because they're all wonderful and funny and silly and entertaining. That is something I can say about every single piece of media on here. They're all entertaining, which a lot of movies that I put at lower points are still, if you would ask me on the street randomly, I would say it's one of my favorite movies or books. It's just comparing vampire media feels like comparing my children, just because I consume it and drink it all up so much, rate them, even though I didn't want to, and no one forced me to do this except for myself, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if there's anything I must add to my watch or read list, please, I'm begging you to let me know. I hope you enjoyed me struggling to rank all of these pieces of media, and I hope you are not too upset for me ranking your favorite low, but like I said, I still really liked it. This is my S tier list. These are really the best of the best. Truly, I think everyone should watch or read this once in their life. Please comment and tell me anything on vampire media. I'm happy to hear. I also watch a lot of video essays. If you ever want a video on video essays, please let me know. I love watching those. The iron deficiency is really showing. I don't think a vampire would enjoy my blood quite that much, because I'm very low on iron. What am I even saying? I am obsessed. There's truly nothing I've ever been this obsessed with for this long. I love vampire. I love vampire. Goodbye.